So who has a question about the Trident 660? I'll go first. I have a big question. When you go into the main menu, we'll go up here, and you go to bike setup, or maybe it's display setup. There we go. Display setup and rider name. In the manual, it says that when you enter the rider name, it will display on the startup screen, and it doesn't. And I really want to know why. So what questions do you have? Hello everyone. Just a quick video. I'm working on planning out a video to do a review, owner's review at the 500 mile mark. I'm getting close, almost there, which isn't saying much. There's a lot of other Triumph owners I know of that, Trident owners I know of that have had their bike for as long as I've had mine, maybe even less, and have already done over 500 miles. But since I've been doing reviews, and I think I'm having more fun making videos about the bike than I am riding it, or just as much fun anyway. So I thought it would be interesting to do a review at the 500 mile mark. There's a ton of videos out there that are first impressions and talking about how the bike rides, but not too many. Only a couple that I've seen that are about more like how to live with it. I think Missing and Flyer did one, and Motobob did one. Those are both really good, but I think of those two, Motobob's the only one that owns the Trident. So anyway, I've been thinking about what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, what it's like to live with, and I have a few good ideas, things to talk about in some subsequent videos coming up. But it occurred to me the other day that maybe something that would be more beneficial to viewers is if you had questions that needed to be answered, questions you wanted to ask, or things that weren't addressed in other videos that you would like to know. Write that in the comments below and let me know, and I'll do my best to answer those questions in some of the review videos. Maybe I'll make the 500 mile review like a 3-part thing, or split it up into different parts. And the first part I'd like to do is just do a question and answer thing. So if you ask me a question in the comments, I'll do my best to answer that in a video. You know, so if you're like me, and when you first saw the bike online and in pictures and videos, you probably watched every single video that you could, read a whole lot of all the reviews, and so I did that. And so I know a lot of other people are still waiting on the bike to hit their showrooms, and so maybe you're in the same boat, and you've watched everything, but you still have questions, and maybe some of those videos that you've watched haven't answered those questions yet. So just let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. If there's something I can't answer, I'll do my best to do some research and see if I can find the answer, or maybe give you my best advice about where to go to try and find that answer. Maybe you have the bike, maybe you're like me and you've got a few hundred miles on it, and you still have some questions about how things are going, about the functionality of it. You know, I had one question a few weeks back about the service light, the little wrench light, and when it was supposed to come on and when it was supposed to turn off. And I think sometimes, you know, if the bike is new to you and something happens, it's hard to tell, is this normal or not, unless you can bounce that off of another owner and compare experiences. So if you're in that boat and you have a question, please let me know. Also, and this one's a tougher one, if you're on the fence, you're interested in the bike, but you're maybe also interested in a couple other bikes, and you're not sure, I could do my best, you know, to say like what I would do, you know, if given, you know, that choice, or what I think the pluses and minuses, strengths and weaknesses of each bike would be. Obviously I'm biased because I chose the Trident, so if you're like, hey, should I buy this bike or that bike, chances are I'm going to tell you to buy the Trident, kind of depending on what you're going to use it for. Also, if you're wondering if it would be a good beginner bike or not, that's a tough question. Not all beginners are equal. You know, some beginners are more beginners than others. I think there's a big difference between a young person that is maybe has a small body type and maybe not quite as strong as a full-grown adult. And this would be like the very first bike that they would be throwing a leg over. That is, you know, so they are literally brand new to motorcycles or two wheels. That's one kind of beginner. And then there's, you know, the beginner, a 6 foot tall, 200-pound, 20-something looking for their first motorcycle, but they have, you know, other motorsports experience. They know throttle control. They've taken the MSF course, but this would be the first bike that they bought for themselves. I think there is a huge difference between those two riders. So to say, is it a beginner's bike? It's like, well, depends on how you define beginner. So I'll do my best to try and answer those questions, but just let me know what kind of beginner you are. Yami Noob, their channel did a pretty good review or answering that question a while back, and one of the good points they made is while it's an affordable bike in its class or for its performance, you know, for a very first bike that you might drop, it's expensive. It might be a cheap bike in its class, but that doesn't mean that the parts aren't going to be expensive to replace. So they made some good points there too. But I will try to answer that question the best I can and give you some good advice. My main concern is going to be safety. So any advice I give to anybody is gonna be what I think would be the safest thing to do in that situation. All right. Other than that, if just to have anything in general, I did a review a couple weeks back about all the different accessories, but if you have other questions or more specific questions about some of the things I have on the bike, I can definitely address those as well if you wanted me to go more in depth. But if you have other questions too, just about the functionality, about how it does on the freeway, about how it does in traffic, how it does in town, some maintenance, or, you know, lubing the chain and keeping that all, keeping everything tip-top and looking good, how easy it is to clean. So just, you know, all the basic stuff that you might not get in a normal rider review, because they're just going to talk about how it rides and how it feels and how it performs. But, you know, what is it like to actually have it in your garage and to own it and take care of it? Sometimes those are two different things too. So just put a comment down below if you haven't and you want to give it a like and subscribe as well. I appreciate all that. And I am going to go on a much needed vacation here over the next couple weeks, so I'll be working on putting those videos together and thinking that all out. And if I can get on track before we leave here, I do have a couple of videos that I'll get ready to schedule and post in the meantime. So then when I get back from vacation, I'll get going on the 500-mile review and try and do a series on that and get all those questions answered. So give me a couple weeks to get back and to get everything sorted out and to figure out, see who's asking what questions and how I can best answer them, and I'll get back to you. All right, so thanks a lot, have a good day, and thanks for watching.